Welcome everyone to the City Council meeting for March 3rd, 2020 for the City of Evans. I'm Brian Rudy, the Mayor. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Spear.
Here.
Councilmember Mortensen.
Here.
Councilmember Kessel.
Here.
Councilmember Neal.
Present.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item not on the agenda this evening? Please step up to the podium, state your name and address, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, Lyle Oxiger, 3313 Lupton Avenue, Evans, Colorado. Thanks for letting me speak. I haven't been here for a while, so I just wanted to say a couple of things. Number one, on the park, I'm somewhat familiar with that park over there, but I just wanted to comment or compliment you on the great job the City Council has done over there, putting that back. It was a huge job. I know it took a long time, but I think you did it right. And I'm a lot. The other thing, I know it takes a lot of courage to go out for attacks these days. They're very, very unpopular and they're very difficult to get past. But sometimes they're necessary. And I don't like taxes myself, but I think in this case it's very, very much warranted. And I just wanted to commend you for stand up and go out for this tax and in the best interests of the City of Evans. So thank you. I just wanted to say that to you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks very much, Mr. Oxinger. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item not on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, are there any changes to the agenda? I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Item 6, consent agenda. Item A, approval of the February 18th, 2020 City meeting minutes. Consideration of ordinance number 711-20, an ordinance to update the official zoning map for the City of Evans pursuant to zoning changes that occurred in 2019 and early 2020 second reading. Item C, consideration of an ordinance number 712. The consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item 7, new business. Item A, consideration of Planning Commission member appointment. We will hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. As council is aware, we have had a vacancy on our Planning Commission now for a couple months. Since early January, the city had advertised for interested applicants for the spot that through social media, through our Evans Express news process. One applicant, and we have that application for your consideration tonight. I will just introduce the applicant as Lyle Oxinger. Mr. Oxinger has experience, as he stated on his application, as he's currently the board chair for Ames Community College, has served on the Front Range MPO, and this says that he's also served as the mayor of the City of Evans. Per your action on February 4th, we're bringing this application directly to you so that you can consider the application. The Planning Commission does have a very busy year ahead, given the the development applications that we have in progress, and also which is getting underway. So it's important that we have complete
For being interested in our planning commission. As Jim mentioned, it is going to be a very, very important tool for our city, but we have a lot of things coming up the pipeline for our city. I became a member of city council 8 years ago. Things, if not most of the things I learned from Mr. Oxinger when he was mayor. A lot of great knowledge about the city. His heart is in the city, and he does everything he does for the city. And I'm very, very excited that he wants to be part of our planning commission, so thank you.
I would agree. When I first was appointed to council, he was the mayor, and I learned quite a bit from him, especially during that flood time. I mean, his leadership was outstanding, and it gave me a better insight to the city and how the city works, and how to connect with our citizens. And he made during his leadership, and it's continued on to this day. And he has a vast knowledge of the city and the boards and how they work. So this is an easy choice.
Mentioned at first that I believe the process of process started for as far as all the grants that we were able to obtain to redo Riverside Park. It started with Lyle and his some of his staff, Aiden, and some of the other people that really started that whole process. Well, I'm glad to have you see that you're still interested in serving the city.
The guidance, which is great. There's no self-interest in it. It comes from his heart, and I think that's what makes him such a valuable service to our community. Is much appreciated.
Any other comments? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the appointment of Mr. Lyle Oxinger to.
I have a motion and a second to approve the appointment of Mr. Lyle Oxinger to the City of Evans Planning Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you again very much.
Yes, thank you.
Next item, item B, consideration of award of bid 2020 concrete replacement project. We'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. In addition to our annual resurfacing program that the council is well aware of, the budget also includes some money for concrete work. That is actually, we have to often get that done in advance of the resurfacing or street maintenance work. This year's budget includes for this work plus the crack sealing work. And so tonight we have the bid recommendation for concrete work, and I'll ask our city engineer, Mark Overschmidt, to summarize the work and the bidding process.
Thanks, Jim. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Thanks for having me tonight. For this project, we actually had 4 interested bidders come to the table with paperwork. When we open the bid, we have to look for certain documents that have to be included in each of the bid documents. So they have to include that they received the addenda. They have to include certain bid bond documents. 3 of the bidders that showed up did not have all the necessary documents, so we didn't even, were actually the allotted portion of getting ahead of the game for next year is start to do with some of these more maintenance type projects, the crack sealing, and the next one will be coming up will be asphalt patching in the next couple of weeks, and the chip sealing a little bit, instructions. So if we can get some of these things done ahead of time, these maintenance type over as much concrete work as we can. If we can do a little bit more than what's already shown, we will do that. We'll prioritize areas which will be next in line for either chip sealing or overlays down the road. We're trying to get areas ready so that when we really have parts of town that can hold on for a few more years. That's kind of the plan at this point in time. And Leon, my inspector, he knows these roads inside and out, and he's walked every one of them. So he looks at them closely, and he tries to prioritize the ones that are in the worst shape. We are helping out the Greeley-Evans Transit this year, because last year when I first arrived, one of the things they asked me to fix was that little pan on Central south of 37th, which is a inverted speed bump for the buses. So what we're going to do is remove that pan and actually make the pan longer north-south to improve the drivability across it and still maintain the drainage off that road and into the grassed area to the east or to the west. So that's one of the bigger pieces of concrete that we're going to replace this year. you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Questions of staff?
I have a question. So I was looking at the map and I was looking at the list of projects that you have here on our packet here. One of the things I wanted to know is with that additional money and hopefully so, if you drive along 23rd Avenue, if you go southbound right past the Mosaic Church area, there's a lot of that concrete there that butts up against the road that is really in desperate need of repair. And that's one of the main driven roads besides 37th Street. And I think we would really need to focus on those areas as well. And so I would like to see that included in that, because I know last year I asked about it, some more work that needs to be done along that stretch of road.
Leon has mentioned those to me, and if with this extra money, we could probably take care of a little more traffic control, but we can probably take care of that.
Well, I just will piggyback onto that. I think it's really important in our business areas to have nice-looking streets and concrete to attract more businesses in. So anywhere we see that. This is only for, am I correct? This is only for, I think at one time we were going through the city and making the handicap accessible corners. Are we complete with that then?
We're not done.
Okay.
There are some handicap ramps being done with this.
Is this in the scope of this project then, or is it in addition to, or?
On this one, that's an intersection where there's a ramp by
Good.
Other comments or questions?
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't quite catch it. Did you say this is outside of the current budget?
Yeah, so what we have two different buckets of money. One is $850,000 and the other one is $350,000. This one came out of the $350,000. So we have $150,000 that we've already tax ceiling. We have $50,000 which is set aside for our WL to help us with our street light and our traffic signal, electrical maintenance type stuff. So that only left $150,000. So we were $38,000 short.
Okay.
So the idea was that we would take $50,000 from the $850,000 and use that towards this, and then that would leave us $800,000, which the plan is moving forward to split that evenly between asphalt patching and chip. The asphalt patched roads would get us another couple of years before we get into the reconstructions and or the overlays, depending on how bad the road condition is.
Wonderful. Thank you for the clarity. I appreciate
Just
it.
to add to that, just so that we keep the narrative, so we're all on the same page. The $850,000 is that base $600,000 amount for pavement management, resurfacing work that the council, given some excess, some unanticipated oil and gas revenues. This year we were able to take that from $600,000 to $850,000. So this is additional for concrete and signal work and all that stuff.
Red?
I need to ask Scott, since this, one of the concrete replacements will be in front of my house, am I need to excuse myself?
No, your act is no different from a large group of people that you're not disqualified.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Instructors, Inc., and to authorize the mayor's signature on an agreement in an amount not to exceed $200,000.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to award the 2020 concrete replacement project contract to Naranjo Civil Constructors, Inc., and to authorize the mayor's signature on an agreement in a not-to-exceed amount of $200,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item 8, report, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. First, along the lines of our planning commission appointment tonight, I just want to let council know that now that we have the full member appointed, we will be advertising that we've talked about. So to the extent the council or the public has any, and this time we'll be trying a little more. We've had, I think, some good ideas from people about being a little more descriptive of what the planning commission is and kind of engaging people about the impact that the planning commission has on the community and how and city councils for sure. So to the extent council or anyone else has suggestions for us, we're certainly open, and we want to try advertising and engaging people a little different ways so that we can get more applications. Second thing tonight, I want to let the council and the public know we have been aware of some some sound issues on the online streaming of our meetings. We did have our vendor come out, and I believe I've heard that those issues remaining, or there are other issues. Please let us know. It was important that we get those squared away, and the council knows about it. Third, I'll mention again, I know it was brought up during the work session, but that this weekend is the Special Olympics Polar Plunge. So anyone interested in donating can find more information about it on the city and police department websites. Or certainly ask any of us that are participating. And finally, I do want to formally Lauren Richardson, who's with us, and I'll ask our Assistant City Manager, Randy Reed, to introduce her further tonight.
Thanks, Jim.
You might stand up.
Bring Lauren up. We're really pleased to have Lauren join us now that Ann is well established as our Director of Community Development. Lauren has joined us this week as a city planner. Really pleased to come over. She lives in Fort Collins, but we'll be making that short commute. Department. She's worked for the city of Loveland and other private developers on Venice. She's delightful to work with, and it's coming on at a great time for both the number of current planning cases that we have, and then we'll be talking to you at your next meeting during work session about kind of launching the community plan, the comprehensive plan. So a lot going on, and we're glad she's here. So.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
Excited to have you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. City Attorney,
Nice meeting you.
I'll save my comments for
any item. More chance, Mr. Mayor.
Go into an executive session to confer with the city attorney for the purposes of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions when agreements pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, subsection 4B and 4 and B.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Nice to meet you.